Namaste. Welcome to Smriti. Today we have Dr. Sharada Purna Sontigaru. Welcome back, Sharada Garu. Namaste. It's such an honor to have you here. Today is a special episode. We are going to know more about your life journey, life experiences, particularly as you traveled, threading your experiences to the core, the Vedic tradition, culture you were exposed right from your early days to now. Very, very excited. I've heard you several times, just picked up only tidbits, but I am very much excited to hear from you today. And of course, our Smriti viewers, it is going to be very insightful. We are trying to know more about you and your Vedic journey.
Devani, truly it's a joy and delight to be here with you, virtually connected, and yet sharing life experiences. How rare it is.
Yeah.
And I'm humbled with this privilege. In some ways, this moment is a rarity for me.
Mhm.
I call this rare because in the past 1 year, things have been changing. The world has been changing. And the pandemic has changed our lives completely. The world is upside down. The interesting result of that is we are connecting more than ever virtually. That means in non-local areas. We don't see physically. These are all non-local areas. And I'm here and you are here. I get to share a snapshot of my life experiences, which I feel a mosaic of refurbished poetic diction made into small frames. That means the events of my life. Why? To catch the light of various events and the results that has been carried all through these years. It's interesting. I myself am here to show a single personality and its ability towards the world and towards grasping the world in my own words and terms, and which in turn is the source of that particular personality to evolve. Did you get what I said?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have given me an opportunity to present an autobiographical sketch. Don't we all always falsely perceive our life experiences are our own? Are they really? Are they really? And have you heard the word swinging shades from English poetry? High school times, when we read Milton, Keats and all, swinging shades. That means watching the shades of various situations, implying a philosophical tone to it with a mixed optimism. That means our life experiences are, the world is there. We experience, that's inner. World is outer, experience is inner. And the secondary and the tertiary shades of that, that means what it comes out to be, are the shades. Those are called swinging shades. I always love that word. And I do wish my account stir up few like minds. If I flip the pages of my incidents, life incidents, they glare at me and they stare at me. because I have given my services in different areas as a researcher, a tutor, a mentor, a counselor, a guide. And on the other side, to do all these things, I played roles like creative writer, a translator, editor, all that you have mentioned. The characters that you understood and you mentioned are in two parts, before and after. That's what we are talking about. I have to tell you one thing. All the roles that I have played are not object specific, but they are context specific, because that left an absolute freedom inside me. It's an absolute freedom in my life. Conversations with you are very special for me because you and I are having a fantastic voyage into non-local areas. That too, my life in specific. The underlying thread binding the beads into a garland are two: freedom, sense of freedom, and Tattvic approach. Two basic, fundamental backgrounds of my life experience. I would continue here. I am sure you would be thinking now, what is Tattvic? What is the Tattva that has been the Nepathyam, that is the background of your life? That's the question that will pop in your head. I would say that my mentor, Vishwanatha Achyuta Devarayalu Garu, time and over was telling me that word has a tattva, the world has philosophy. That means sound is Shabda. In Sanskrit, Shabda word was given 36 different terms. That means our word also, same thing. It's combination of Shabdas, 36 different words to narrate Shabda. Same thing with Jala. Can you believe there are 200 words to say what Jala is? Jala is water, for water. In English, water is one word for water. In Sanskrit, 200 words for water. So what I was trying to say here is the difference between the word and the world is what has been my Nepathyam of my life. And going into the second part of it, I would call my book of life, the pages are in various chapters. In a way, I feel blessed and lucky to vibe with my mentors, my friends in this journey. I'm yet to grasp a proper word for tattva, the tattvikata. That is what is the strength of my life is. And it is the two ways. Tattva is the process. Tattvika drishti is what we do. We need that, it's a tool. And so my life in parts: childhood, education, migration, and life in global village during the internet era. So let me go back. My childhood, that's the first, right? That's how we start. I won't say I came from a completely conservative Orthodox family environment, but I was, along with my siblings, 6 siblings, 2 sets of grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, extended family members, and helpers in the house. All of us are 28 members in one household. That's how I grew up. For that, the householder, the head of the house, was my father, Susalla Gopala Shastri Garu, and the power Behind the entire setup is my mother, Sita Devi. Grew up in a combined joint family with a large number of people. And what happened during that time? What did I learn? What happened? So when I say I grew up in a joint family, what's the result? That means we need privacy for the mind to grow. We need collectiveness, togetherness to live and learn life. That's first point. That's my childhood. Just as everybody else, try to go back in time and struggle to recollect the very first childhood memory that I can narrate. Like a story, if I have to say. What is the first one? I was 4 years old in city of Chennai, a suburban area called Triplicane. A long stretch of road, wide road, Singarachari Street in South India. What happened? One end is my grandfather's house, the other end is Parthasarathi temple, facing each other. Early morning processions, householders washing the road, bringing copper pots of water, decorating with kolam and flowers, chamelis, dhavanam, maruvam, sampangi. These are very exclusive for those times because they were treated like very mystical, enigmatic entities that stir up our inner emotions. And temple bells, chanting Veda mantras, and group of people walking in front, singing Tode Mangalam. And the other people behind, walking with Parthasarathi Swami Vigraham, the idol, in the chariot, divine chariot, temple chariot, and walking in the streets. This is in the morning at 4:30. Grandparents used to wake us up, and we get so excited in the morning at 4:30. And we come, and before we come, we were asked to you take bath and come. So we run, do it fast, and come to the forefront, sit on the steps, and watch the procession go. And listen to Tode Mangalam, listen to Vedic chants, and watch early in the morning a God's idol taken in front of us. And we woke up, we never complained. So what it tells us is, the rituals we are exposed to in our early childhood will lead us to spirituality. This is the proof, Vani. We need to. We never complained that we have to get up at 4:30 in the morning and take bath and sit in the front. We never thought we'll be hungry. We were excited. It is fun. It is celebration. It is a joy. And that is the second step that happened. And then what happens? Slowly, celebrating festivals, following traditions, and we were never imposed, but we were always were introduced to that and directed to perform cultural traditions. We learned cultural traditions as a part of growing up, as a part of childhood, as part of life, day after day. And such was making another aspect in childhood. Making gobbe malu. I don't know if you know what it is.
Yeah.
Cowden balls, a South Indian tradition during harvest season, that is Sankranti, in month of January.
Yes.
We make this gobbe malu with cow dung. That is another thing. Can you imagine that in front right now? Prepare to bring cow dung. We need to prepare baskets. That we used to prepare all that. The basket preparation with paper mache. And the paper nobody will give you. You have to go onto the street and collect all the thrown away papers. Bring them home, cook them with leftover rice, and make paper mache and make containers, big containers, to bring cow dung. And we used to take the cow dung onto the streets and pick up. The farther you go, the better you are, because the more you can bring home. So you can make more cow dung balls. And you pick it up from the streets with your arms, with a little tiny growing young child's hands. And the smell never bothered us. And we thought it's something great that we are accomplishing in life. Street after street, pick up cow dung, bring it home in the papier-mâché baskets, and make the balls, decorate them with pumpkin flowers. Gummadi pulu. That was very special. Only that, because pumpkin flowers are beautiful yellow in color. And they look so gorgeous with the dark green of the cow dung. And we prepare them. There was never averse towards it. Never felt touching, picking up the cow dung from the street was sickening or bad or anything like that. There was never that feeling. The more amount, the more balls we can make, and we will win something. Grandparents will pat on our back and say, oh, you did so good. The lesson from this is, there is no such thing as I like, I don't like. There is no such thing as I want to or I don't want to. That means duality ceases. So far, I have told you 3 things that I have learned till now. That means we need privacy for the mind, togetherness for life. That's number 1. And the number 2, ritual leads us to spirituality. And the 3rd thing is duality ceases right in childhood. And the next one is worshipping Ganesha. Ganesh Chaturthi is very popular for all of us. We need to work for a month, the month before, for Bhadrapada Masa. Grandparents and grandmothers and aunts, uncles, everybody, especially children, were used to given the piece of a bark of sandalwood tree. On the rolling stones, you grind those sandalwood barks and make sandalwood paste. If you do for an hour, you might get a spoonful of sandalwood paste. But you cannot make tiny little Ganesha, you have to make big one. That means imagine how much those little shoulders of the little young people work to make that sandalwood paste. And we make it for a month, and we make the sandalwood Ganesha. And after Ganesh Chaturthi, after everything, the Nimajjanam comes. That means the hard work of 1 month. You need to take this Ganesha and drop it in the water. And that waters are, because we lived in Visakhapatnam, which is a coastal city, Bay of Bengal. We used to live right in front of the shores. So we used to go into the ocean, into the sea, and drop the Ganesha. We never felt, we never cried, we never complained, we never pouted that we have to do this. We thought it's something great, something good. So what it gives is one-pointedness, focus, letting it go after it is done, a sense of detachment and acceptance. And we gain a sense of detachment in action and sense of peace when you drop it in the water, and a sense of fulfillment. So this is what teaches spirituality, rituals, traditions, sampradayas, practices, childhood disciplines. This is what will teach us. So that's the 4th one. And the next one comes preteens, confused age. And father was a Gandhian freedom fighter, civil engineer by profession, Ananda Margi by faith, and a true karma yogi. We 7 siblings. Everywhere holding hands, we were called Shastri family of Vizag. And It's a coastal city, and we were introduced to many disciplines in childhood itself. Father used to take us to all political rallies, August 15th parades, Republic Day parades, visits with national leaders. If they come, we have to stand on the street in salty, burning, hot summer days and stand until the person goes in their trucks, vans, and all. And we were introduced to that. Social service mates, Swamijis, when they come to the city, we go there and visit orphanages. Father used to take us there. Standing in humid, sultry, summery day outside never bothered us. So what does it mean? The mind is focusing on seeing a national spirit. That's how it was introduced. And we have seen our Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Babu Rajendra Prasad, Lal Bahadur Shastri, and many, many other national leaders. Memory was very vivid, Vani. My memories are very vivid because every stage, it's teaching us various disciplines, only if we look at it with a Tattvika Drishti. Otherwise, it will be an event in life, which we might forget. But here, it is absolutely discipline, Tattvika Drishti. That means the way you approach the virtuality behind the reality is what we are saying there. And one vivid experience that I had was in 60s, Indo-China War. And in Vizag was by the sea, and all the warships used to come. And so constantly sirens used to ring, and we used to hide under the tables during the war times. We experienced many, many, many interesting experiences. And one thing was INS Magar, INS Vikrant are two warships that came to Vizag Sea. The naval base, shipyard are loaded with people, Army, Navy people. And these ships bring those war helicopters. They fly through the helicopters and the people stay there. The ships will be there for 3 to 4 months. And so what happens is they bring food. Once the 3 months are over, the whole food is dumped in the ocean. So my father used to go there in vans, driving by himself, used to take us with him. And you pick up all the dry milk powder cans back home. After coming home, you boil hot water, open the milk cans, powder, make milk. While we are making this at home, he used to bring 50 to 70 orphans from orphanages in van making trips, bring them home, make them sit on the street. It's because it's sea-facing large street. Make them sit there, and we used to give the milk to those orphans along with sesame jaggery balls and clothes and slates to write. It's like a practice. And we never complained. We never said, I don't want to, I'm tired. Childhood, right? Childhood, play. We want to play. I don't want to do all this. Never. Because it is an excitement. It is something. What mother used to tell us, what father used to tell us. And we had many opportunities. And we had seen INS Magar, INS Vikrant, warships, Navy people, what they live, how they live, and how we can use the thrown away thing that we brought it back and made milk and distributed to the orphans. And that left a remarkable image in my memories. And social service is mandatory in childhood developmental disciplines. It teaches us compassion, sharing, kindness, kindness as fun. These characters are fun. And next comes the youth. Exposure to arts, Brahma Samaj, Arya Samaj, Chinmayananda groups, Gandhi Tattva Prachara Kendras, Chaitanya Mats, and other centers of education. We were taken to all those places. Absolute freedom prevailed in our lives. Every wakeful moment, I join my hands and I do namaskaram to my parents for giving that childhood. I would say that this is not unique for me. I am sure there are thousands and thousands of people in India who had these experiences, and they all became the leaders, the thinkers, the think tanks of India. They brought the national spirit. And Gandhiji led all of us, right? And he taught us ahimsa, satyavak, satyagraha, hard work, all these things. He taught us. And there are many people, we need to see all those people. We need to read their lives. And I remember my aunt, Dr. Somi Devamma, the very first lady, a female head of the department for chemistry in Andhra University. During her time, there are 6 women heading various science departments in Andhra University, from where our great scholar, the knighthood receiver, Sarvepalli Radhakrishna hailed from. And the reason I am bringing Dr. Somi Devamma is she was widowed very young in life, very young. And during that time, conditions were very strict for widowed women. Father brought her out. He said she's going to go to school. She climbed the ladder, step after step after step. Elementary, middle school, high school, pre-university, private education, joined in college, got her BSc bachelor's degree and master's in chemistry. And then she tried for a job and she got a job in Andhra University, and she became the head of the department. And what I see is my mother, Sita Devi, she stayed home. I will talk about her too, because what I learned from my life experiences is what I want to share.
Absolutely.
And my father's side, I talked to you about them. And my aunt, my father's sister, Somi Devamma, she is a very educated, highly educated woman. On the other hand, my mother, 7 children. She was confined to the family, raising children. She did her master's during her 7th child. And what happens here is, what we get out of this, thinking about this, education leads to gaining wisdom. It gives us a scope to think, to gain wisdom. Education gives us accomplishments and service to the society. We realize the worthy of life and the purposefulness of life and sense of gratitude. And now, the next point I would like to mention is my parental lineage. My great-great-grandfather, he is also Susarla Gopala Shastri, a pleader, a lawyer by profession, a scholar, writer, orator in multi-languages. And he's an owner and editor of Jnana Lahari in 1800s. He used to translate all in English, in Telugu, Sanskrit, and publish them as a journal. My grandfather is a Sanskrit scholar. They are English scholars. Great-grandfather and grandfather, I'm talking about 2 generations here. They all are, again, English scholars, teachers, music writers, and Veda Dharma followers. strong rituals in the family. When my father came, life took a fork. He became a socialist, a patriot, an engineer by profession, a contractor for many, many temples of today, a cultural promoter. On my maternal side, grandparents are Pandits, scholars in Sanskrit, English, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Malayali, Tulu, Bengali, and many of the languages. They all were in universities. What? Kavi, Mahakavi, Korada Ramachandra Kavi, the famous linguist and philologist Korada Ramakrishnaya and Korada Mahadeva Shastri, they were known, very popular even today in the field of education. The women from all generations were very strong-willed. That is because of the environment. We do need to talk about the environment. Vani. So what the essence of this is, the environment we live in influences us in most of our personality development and teaches us to be objective towards life. And it guides us, directs us with the self-motivation, auto-suggestion to take our own decision for our own life, to build our own life. These are all the incidents that happen. I have met many, many great individuals in my life. I was blessed and I could vibe with them. And that didn't stop there. At the age of 22, I came to this country, United States of America. The first flight I took was a direct flight from Bombay to New York. That's the ever first flight I got into. I don't know what flight is. I don't know what flight journey is. And I was told by my teacher, my mentor, that, Ma Sharda, if you see your husband through the windows, you get out of the flight. Otherwise, you come back in the same flight. And I believed it. I thought it was true. When I came into the New York, the glass doors opened by itself. I thought I broke it. I started crying. And the people there, they took me to a place and convinced me that you didn't break it. They opened by themselves. That kind of naivety to United States of America, that's the journey. And then what happens? Marriage, migration, next generation, life in USA. One thing I can tell you, there is no greater feat of creative spirit. The unison of commitment to work, maturity in personhood, sense of integrity, poise, and principle, all that we learn once we come to United States of America. We do experience the power of freedom. We do gain the power of using the freedom for our own betterment. And we live in a very opportunities loaded environment. It's all up to us how we bring out our inner world to outer to show this. And now I have to shift the entire talk into a different direction. You asked me what it is. And as I said, I don't say that I came from a orthodox conservative family, but my mind is extremely conservative, orthodox, and free, independent. When I met my guru during my tutelage with Brahmashri Vishwanatha Achyuta Devarayala garu, he showed me a path. He knows me. We had conversations and then he said, there is a path that we know. We communicate, we converse. We say so many things. Did you ever stop and listen to what you're saying? Where is it coming from? What is happening inside? You said you had a fantastic voyage into your non-local areas. What happened there? Can you articulate them? Can you tell me? Tell me how it's happening. That's how he started the conversation. And I learned Veda mantras and Krishna Yajurvedam, some of the pannas, and we used to have English Telugu conversations. Interesting thing, Barney, he made me pen it down, write it down, all 10,000 Ruk mantras, one on each paper. Sanskrit language, Telugu transliteration, and English transliteration. One mantra on each paper, all 10,000 Ruks. That's one of the greatest experience I ever have. By 12 years of tutelage, many words are familiar. Now my whole mind had absolute wash. Like when we go for car wash in the United States, how we get it? It's prakshalanam for the mind. And I learned, and we had discussions. I won't even say that I remember handful of mantras, maybe 5. That's all I know. But he put me a path. He took me to a path that means the Aksharavadam. And how do I imply? How do I put this into practice? How do I tell my children or the people around me? How do I create my environment? What happened here after I came to the United States? Establishing institutions, organizations, publishing house, schools, study centers, university chapters, establishing other various institutions, all this happened. So what happened behind them? What is that energy that manifested into these actions is what we gained from childhood, from teenhood, from youth, and then marriage. And Dr. Sriram Sonti, my husband, was always with me every step of the way, supporting my interests. He came from a different environment, but we could take this journey together to establish whatever I wanted to do. And he is my partner in many ways. And my inspirations are my daughters. That I feel at times that we lend our deha for another prani, for a child. They rent our space for 9 months and they seek and they move into a bigger house called the world. It's a huge house. They explore. So what happened was, now I do think that if I live between 2 worlds, one is cognition, the other one is space. Think of these 2. Cognition is completely our brain action. Space is all around and inside. Incidentally, one of my daughters is a neurologist who always talks about languages and cognition. And the other one works for SpaceX, always talks about space, satellites, orbits, Mars, moon, Raytheon, all those things. So what is the reason for me to bring that out is what manifests, the realization of manifest and unmanifest. The unmanifest is what we have the freedom to mold. And the world helps us to mold it. and we learn disciplines in life, with knowingly or unknowingly. And we, the women, always have that creative spirit inside. That creative spirit we carry with us. We carry the children. We bear them, we deliver them, we nurture them, and we make them, and we let them go. You remember making sandalwood Ganesha and do Nimajjanam in the ocean. And my publications, I have published 24 books. And I have done souvenirs. And I did conducted a magazine, a literary journal, multilingual literary journal by name Brahmi. And I came to know many, many great scholars. And the world builds the environment, as I said. You remember all the main points I was talking, chapterizing my own life and saying the environment we live in is the reason for our personality development. And everything that comes out of us shares a piece of our heart, a chunk of our personality, in our own terms, in our own words. This is common for everybody. It's not unique for me. Every human is in the same predicament, same situation, goes through the same thing, and the unmanifest and the manifest states of our life is common to all humans. And here I am, talk to you about the life incidents and disciplines that I have learned and the disciplines that I have been practicing. Today, also, my mind dances, jumps up and down when I see sandalwood Ganesha, or when the high tides of the ocean, or the environment with different colors. I have visited many countries, met many people, Westerners, because I live in the United States. And if I see the people, if I listen to the minds of those people, no human is different. We all are the same. We all need to close our eyes and look inside. We need to look through our mind. Open our mind and look inside. Close our eyes and look inside. And we all can. And I shifted into languages, established foundations I told you about, music, dance, and literature. They are very uniquely abstract, profoundly emotional, extremely creative, and very, very rewarding if we pursue all the arts. Because arts are the creative energy manifestations. And that is what I was introduced to by my mentors and gurus. And I'm very grateful to them. I worship them as part of my life. And I have great support. So I did. So what is happening here? When we first came to this country in 1975, the Pittsburgh temple was under construction. They just did the groundbreaking and started constructing. From there, we went to Boston and came to Chicago, 1980. 1983, Sri Balaji Temple, Venkateswara Swami Temple, the second Balaji Temple in the United States. Groundbreaking. We took everything from home, and did the puja, Bhumi Puja at that time. And my heart feels like when I was in India, when my father was constructing the structures of the temples, only the structures. But here I am, I could be a part, did Bhumi Puja for the temple, and was the part of Ganesha temple in Chicago. So what is it tells me is what my mother was doing. With 7 children, raising them, and how she led her life. She went to school, and she did her master's after 7th child. And she made sure that all of us get our PhDs. She's the one who was telling us only Vidya comes with you. And take Vidya as Upasana. Upasana leads you to Veda Grahana. And we need to do that. And we were taught, we were directed, we were never imposed. I will tell you one more thing, a small incident in life. Because we had large extended family with many children at home, my mother used to mix rice and yogurt and little bit of jaggery pieces on the plate. She used to make us sit in a row, give balls of that yogurt rice in our hands, and we eat. By the time she goes all around, feed everybody, and comes with a second ball of rice, we are full. That means with that one ball of rice, she fed us emotional nurture. She nurtured our emotions. She balanced our excitements. You know, this happens in every household. That's what we all get. As I mentioned, this is not about me and my life. This is about a person and life itself. We need to see that through our Tattvika Drishti, that we need to do. And Vani, this is very interesting to talk about all these things. And my books, my creative writing, everything is geared towards Vedic education, Vedic Dharma, Vedaksharas, Veda Shabdas, Vedarthas, and what is Veda? That means what we know. And my life geared towards that. And I am very grateful to all those individuals who impacted my life. And today, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to think about all those people and do namaskaram to them. And through you, Vani, what a rarity, what a joy, and what a privilege. Thank you, Vani. And I thank Smriti and you together. Namaste.
It was such an honor. What a journey. I was just, you will be inspirational to many lives, I'm sure. You've always inspired me every time I pick up the phone. I've spoken to you, and now people listening to you. And thank you. I'm very grateful. Speechless, but I'm trying to express with my limited words here. Really, thank you. Anything, of course, you've already shown a path yourself in your speech, in your sharing of your story today, how one can conduct life, and anything more that you would like to see in future. If you want to direct your juniors like me, and also the kids who will be coming in the future. I mean, what can you emphasize in the present days that might lack or obstruct, but we need to kind of go beyond that and keep up the tradition, culture?
See, the world manifestation is highly dynamic. What happens is, my experiences gave me strength to deal with the worldly situations all these years, 7 decades. My younger generations and the next generations, they are living in different times, different worlds. What I would say is, what they experience in their childhood will manifest, and they need to realize that the environment they live in has extreme levels of impact on the manifestation. They cannot compare with the older generation's life experiences, but what they need to learn is not the replication of the experiences, but the power what that led. That is the reason why I was telling you about every step of the way, what we have seen. Where duality ceases, where compassion develops, when personality evolves, when knowledge occurs, when we learn social service, when we learn technology. We never had this power of technology during our times. But now the younger generation are living with the technology. Technology is the world. They know virtuality more. It's in their hands, in their palms. So what I would tell them is, please don't judge. Take it as it comes. You are living in beautiful times. We are living in very great times today. And so are our young children. But there are certain factors in the society which are bringing turbulence, high tides, violence, death, unpleasantness, all these things. We need to build our own environment devoid of all these negative energies. For that, the parental generation need to help. We need to tell children what compassion is, what peace is, what calm is, what tranquility is, what power is. The environment need to be structured by the parent generations. And the younger generation need to know, they need to come with an empty cup. That means they need to learn to be obedient to certain conditions so that their environment is structured instead of creating their own environment, because the lifetime is not enough. And so what I think is Vedic approach always helps, because Vedic approach directs you inside, within. That means contemplation, thinking, analyzing, rationalizing, picking words, making into a theory and bringing it outside, and see the result of that and the consequences of that by themselves. So what I would definitely tell them is Vedic is not, it's as antique as it can be, as modern as today is. We don't have to throw it in the back shelf or in the back seat, but let's take it as a steering. Use it as a tool and move forward with the way that means our human ability, power of knowledge that comes from within. So we need to do that. And I do say that the Sanatana Dharma, the Kavyas, the Prabandhas, the Shastras, all those things do have time relevant points. And the adults need to learn and they need to share with the younger generation. In the younger generation, need to give their patient ear and patience to learn that. They don't have time, space problem. They are all time. They can use it. One thing we need to remember, rituality leads to spirituality. Spirituality leads us to Tatvikata. Tatvikata, when we have it, the religions, the spiritual theories, and all those things become our happy tools for us to move forward. We need to bring in peace and tranquility in the world. Today, with the coronavirus, COVID times, the world turned upside down, but it gave us a time, a scope, a time and scope to travel within, contemplate, think, and build a better environment. Actually, it did give a better environment, opportunities for us today. And we need to do that. And thank you, Vani. I truly hope, coming from a very liberal family, living in a very liberal country with a very orthodox, antique, Vedic mind, with the Sanatana Dharma as the path, is what my life is going on to. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to look into it. Thank you, Vani.
Our blessing to hear from you. Truly grateful for everything. Thank you so much for taking your time. What an inspiring story to really gain some visions in your talk. Thank you again. Thank you, Smriti viewers. Please stay tuned. Sharada Purna Sontigaru has already been sharing her works. You will find the curation happening at smriti.upasana.net, and she has shared so much of her wisdom in the YouTube channel as well. Upasana, subscribe, follow, and share. And stay with us. There is more coming. Namaste.
Namaste, Vani.